Hey there guys, well as you can hear from the loud hum in the background, there's a lot of heat going on in the house because there's a lot of cold weather out there. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and jump on in. Don't worry, I'm not playing yet. This is just the demo of Baseball Stars playing. My big hope for everybody, first of all, is that you end up being okay as the storm commences. I also hope that the power stays on so you can continue to watch my wonderful videos and other products for you. So we haven't had a whole ton of changes here. We've done a little bit maybe of some improvements, but not really that much. I think the one big one was us getting Rook 3. Well, somebody was asking about this, so I'm going to do it anyway. But you're going to have to pretend that this guy is the correct race. I don't know that this game actually will give you anybody who has dark skin. But anyway, there's Franklin for you. And I'm going to have to do a real quick check here. See, I'm not even prepared yet. I haven't opened up any of my documents. I have the lineup that I use saved. I want to make sure I know where it is that I'm playing him. Yeah, we're going to play him in left field. So we'll put Franklin in there since that's the new player that we have. He doesn't have a heck of a lot. He's marginally better than the second base one guy that we had there before. I made the probably foolish decision of deciding to just go for him last time after we won our last game. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, see, he is in there in left field already. We probably don't want him hitting 7th. We probably want him hitting 8th is what I'm guessing. And anyway, this guy, center field 1, and then this guy, bat D1, those are the other guys that we really need to consider moving on from, getting rid of, you know, whatever it's going to take. So that's sort of the way that our team's looking right now. We are making gradual improvements, though, as you've seen. It doesn't necessarily translate to a lot of improvement on the field. So we'll see if we can do something about that here today, and that's the right way to start it off. Starting off with the base hit is, of course, always a good thing. We'll see what happens in this game. Hopefully we can win. It'd be nice to start winning these games by a sizable margin instead of winning by like 1 run. Oh shoot, that is going to be caught. So that's definitely not the way to do it. As we build up these guys and as they start getting some more ability to hit, especially to hit for power, I think we'll be a little bit safer. Right now, though, it's going to be still a little bit tough. This goes into sort of that theory of, well, okay, so what's the best way to put all of this together? What's the best way to piece together a winning team if you're doing it sort of what I would consider the legitimate way? And I really do think that you can't just put all of your money into, shoot, almost a triple play. We had 1 out already. Man, I thought that was going to be an extra base hit. But I do think that you can't really expect to put like all of your money into prestige and then expect that to work. All right, it doesn't really work if you're doing it the legit way. You have to have some money into, you know, batting, hitting, and probably also running so that you can avoid situations like the one that we just saw. And defense, of course, you really need good defense. You need guys who can play defense well. In fact, if I were going to like go back and do it again, I would try to figure out the right combination that would give me good defensive players right from the start. Because you can always, you know, figure out a way to improve a player's hitting ability, but improving his defensive ability, like you have to like be thinking about it and like actually make an effort to do that. And usually at the very beginning, you're not so concerned about that. You're more concerned about why you're not scoring runs, not so much about why the computer is occasionally getting base hits. So anyway, that's sort of my stance on it, at least so far. Kind of the plan here as we play, we've got a lot of playing left to do, of course, because we're still kind of a weak team, but so much for that. But the plan here is to play through like as much as we can, get sort of an idea of what the best strategy is, and then I can make sort of a video on that and sort of my own type of good strategy guide for this game. Hopefully to replace a lot of the stuff that at least I read when I was looking at like game facts and stuff like that. Not to say that like the game facts guides are bad. I think there are 2 of them. The problem with those guides, though, again, is that it's sort of geared around this like notion that you're probably going to create multiple teams and do a lot of trades to make sure that you've got like the good players on your team and stuff like that, instead of what I think is the proper way to play the game, playing the game sort of the way it was designed. That's kind of what we're trying to do here. So anyway, this is just sort of my opinion on about the whole thing. You know, and I know that different people will have different opinions, definitely on the subject of like the right way to play this game. See, I love how the computer does that. Yeah, thank you for not throwing to second where I was a dead duck. Instead, throw to the plate where nobody's even going to get close. That might have been a ball. That was probably not the best idea in the world. Oh, barely, barely. So we do get a run out of that, just barely. Somebody was talking about bunting with guys like the pitcher, and I do think that that's probably a really good strategy. I should do a little bit more of that. Try to force the computer to actually make a good play. Anyway, so that's kind of what's coming up sort of long term. Over on my football channel, American football channel, I just created a video talking about playing Tecmo Super Bowl in the so-called juiced mode based on what I did with my most recent project there. So here on this channel, in the long term, you can expect something sort of similar to that. Sort of like as a post-mortem for this series and also for future series that we'll do. I mean, I'm not just going to do Baseball Stars until the end of time, though I will probably play this for a long time, at least until we can't improve this team anymore. That's almost certainly what we're going to do for the as sort of a baseline. We might play with it a whole bunch after that anyway. The thing is that there are a lot of other baseball games. Boy, Linus has had bad luck. He's had 2 line drives to the first baseman. Alright, so we're getting there. We're getting a little bit closer. Yeah, like I was saying, you know, there are other baseball games to play. There are other projects I want to do. I definitely want to play a lot with Famista, with the Japanese version of RBI Baseball, and get to know those teams better. And there we go, throwing to the plate again. I do think that actually is probably my own fault. If you pay attention on those plays, you'll notice that usually it's when I'm coming in from the left side of the infield, and usually I'm coming down towards the plate, and I think that's what's happening. I think I'm probably hitting down a little bit too much. See, when I do something like that, it works just fine. That was actually a pretty tough play, by the way. If you play Baseball Stars before, you know that. Yeah, a lot of bad luck here. We've been getting some good contact, but probably not as good as we could. That should be a base hit, though. There we go. That's hit number 9, I think, for us, which is pretty good. I've noticed that it's this game that we tend to have trouble with. It's usually when Charlie Brown's pitching, we usually can do pretty well. It's sort of this second game in between against their other pitcher, Nobe, where we have the real problems. So yeah, it's not... Baseball Stars is interesting, especially at these lower levels of play, because it's not the sort of game, it's not like RBI Baseball. You can just sort of like pick it up and you're going to have guys hit home runs all over the place and you're not really thinking about like ratings and stats and stuff like that. In this game, you will spend a lot of time thinking about ratings and stats, and you can tell when you have guys that are just not good enough. You can feel it just because of how they play. But you can still score runs just like we just did right there. It's okay if you have a guy who's not, you know, an overwhelmingly good hitter. Alright, 2-0. I should have taken that. That was going to be ball 3. Yeah, 11 hits, so that's not too bad. The thing, part of the problem we have though is that this pitcher is not really going to last all that long. Almost got him anyway. That guy's pretty slow. Almost got that double play too. How about that? Yeah, we will eventually, yeah. That was definitely user error. We will eventually upgrade the defense, and then that sort of silly thing probably won't happen as often. But occasionally you will see me make some pretty bonehead defensive decisions. It's part of the joy of Nintendo Baseball, doing things that are kind of silly. Although that time I thought I definitely pushed to the left. So somebody was telling me I should open up the controller and try to clean on the inside. So I suppose I could try to do that. I'm not sure that I necessarily want to, though. I'm definitely not sort of a a hardware engineer or anything like that, you might want to consider who you're talking to before you tell me to open anything up, because that can do probably a lot of damage to this product. And as I say that, I'm already doing a lot of damage here to the lead that we were enjoying. Let's see if we can get this guy to chase. Well, he did chase, and it was in the strike zone. Yeah, we're kind of running out of steam here. But we got the double play, and that takes us out of the inning, which is good. I think they had 5 hits, 2 runs, so... And now they're forced to go to their bullpen, which is actually kind of a good thing for us. We like to see them go to this early. I'm almost wondering if we just never let the this second pitcher ever have an at-bat and just plan on taking him out, you know, as soon as his turn comes up in the future. The thing is that he doesn't have a lot of potential, so I don't really want to spend, you know, money trying to build him up at all. And here's Bad Luck Linus, who's had a real rough time of it so far today. 2 screaming liners to the right side that were snagged by the first baseman. He keeps pulling that ball. I'm not sure, again, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how sort of the engineering of this game works, and, you know, how it works in terms of, you know, pulling the ball, you know, the physics of batting and stuff like that. It'd be interesting, though, if somebody were to study that and try to figure some of that stuff out. I swung at ball 3 there, by the way. That would have been a good pitch to take, but at least he got his base hit. All right, we have to change pitchers here. There's no question about it, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So we're probably about to the part now in the game where our pitching is kind of a liability. See, that time we were able to do it right, and we got the guy out, so that was pretty good. Once again, though, I don't understand entirely why they're kind of burning through their lineup this early, or I'm sorry, their bench. I was hoping to do a little bit of that leapfrog action to try to get to that ball on time. Didn't quite work. That time we did it right. So it is possible to do it right. I think that I was just probably a little bit too anxious holding down down instead of pushing over. Anyway, depending upon when you're watching this, hopefully things are not horrible for you in terms of the weather. It's not snowing yet. It's supposed to snow here, so it's what, about 4 o'clock right now. I'm recording this a little bit later than I like to, mostly because it's Saturday. We usually end up doing a lot of shopping on Saturday, spending the money I don't have. But it should probably around 7 o'clock at night, they're saying it should start snowing. But the real snow is going to come around midnight. I don't think I'm going to be on here recording at midnight. If I am, then you know we're really desperate for funds, and that's when you know that my thought process is like create as much content as humanly possible. Probably won't do that. That tends to be lower quality content made like in the middle of the night. This, by the way, is another reason why I don't stream. The biggest danger, of course, is always that if you're going to stream something or even just record something, you have a game that goes on forever, right? I think it depends on your personality. I'm more of an early morning type person, so if you have me like, you know, late at night trying to do something like this, I would probably say a lot of really interesting things, but I don't think it would make for very watchable content. Anyway, one of the reasons why we have the incessant sound of, yeah, I should have run back to first, huh? One of the reasons why we have the incessant sound of the heater in the background is because it's really, really cold today. I mean, when we were out this morning, it was like 12 degrees, I think, Fahrenheit. So we're talking pretty cold. This reminds me quite a bit, actually, of back when we lived in Ottawa, Canada, which was a decade ago. It's that sort of feeling. It's that sort of cold. And, oh, there is actually a guy over there, believe it or not. It was another one of the ghost fielders. I thought we were going to get Glitch Central again. Anyway, it's supposed to stay like this for the entire coming week. which is going to be really interesting if we really do have freezing rain coming tomorrow morning. So we'll see what happens, but of course all of that means is more content for you to enjoy, because what else am I going to do? So maybe you should be hoping for that. You can look forward to watching all sorts of stuff and watching me talk about, you know, the birds aren't flying around here anymore or whatever. Kind of funny, there were a lot of birds outside. I was walking the dog this morning and noticed that there were just a whole ton of birds out. And then I realized that they can't exactly fly south because that's where the storm is. So a lot of kind of strange things happening here in terms of the way the environment works. Well, I just didn't get enough on that to get a base hit. That was close though. Looked like it was going to get the gap, but not quite. He doesn't have enough power to hit this out. See, it's stuff like that. That's the reason why we need to improve the power of the team. This should really be a 5-2 ball game, and instead it's still 4-2. And you know, as much trouble as I've had recently with the SNK Crushers, you do have to realize that the SNK Crushers are like the worst team in the game. They're designed to be the team that you can kind of beat up on and get a whole bunch of money from and stuff like that. Like when we start playing the really good teams, you'll see the difference. It gets to the point where even if you have really good stats, it's still pretty difficult. So there'll be a lot of good stuff to go on. In other words, don't expect us to go on some sort of like magical, amazing winning streak. Is this going to go? No. Warning track power. See? We still have to build it up. But we're not going to go on any like spectacular winning streaks anytime soon. What we're going to have a lot of games that are sort of like this. And once we start building up and we can actually play against better teams, what you're going to notice is a lot of games that seem pretty frustrating because the computer will not make obvious mistakes like that. Maybe once in a while, but not really that often. Linus actually, I think he's 2 for 4 now, so he's having a pretty good game, all things considered. Yeah, we need to work on this. We need to get a little bit better hitting, a little bit better batting. That's what's going to help us there. Yeah, go ahead, keep pitching. See if we can work the count a little bit here. It actually can be difficult to get the timing down right when the pitches are coming in really slowly. See, that wasn't great. I don't know if that was timing though, if that was just lack of ability. That's all right. 4-2 lead. We're still doing okay. Just as long as we don't give up any long balls or any ridiculous infield base hits like that. Tyrone. I don't think that the second baseman, whoever we have playing second right now, I don't think that the second baseman would have been able to get to that anyway. It doesn't really matter where I would have thrown. There was no chance. So we're in trouble now. I should have thrown to third. Yeah, this is not looking so good, guys. That gives us 1 out, and this is the big guy. How about that? So he did exactly what Linus was doing earlier on in the game. Now we forced them to go back to that bullpen. This is the guy. His windup always drives me, gets me off. Not because it's necessarily that hard to hit a guy who's throwing sidearm in this game, but it's because I get so used to the way the other pitchers pitch. I kind of wish that this guy would be a starter so that you can get used to him right from the beginning. Otherwise, it can be really hard to figure out where that ball is going when he throws it. And of course, the other problem is he throws what I guess you'd consider a screwball, a pitch that keeps breaking in. That one I thought was going to be one of those, and it ended up breaking out. Kind of hard to react to that at the very last second. Alright, well, I hope that this isn't going to wind up being another really close game, because I don't know how many of these I can stomach. I feel like we've had a number of really close games recently, and that's kind of frustrating, because you want to have games that you win pretty easily, but it's not turning out like that. This might not work so well. He's trying to throw a drop ball, and I'm not sure if this guy has the ability to really throw good drop balls. Alright, let's see if we can hurry up and get ourselves out of this half inning. Hey, see, that time he could throw it to the bag without throwing it away. That was pretty good. Alright, let's try another one just like that. Hope he doesn't reach it. There's a strong throw. That's why it pays to have a third baseman who has good defensive ratings. Alright, let's see if we can deal with Hama again. It's that pitch right there. That pitch just drives me nuts. It's a sign of a good game, by the way. Oh, man. You want to have a game that has something like that that really throws the gamer off balance and keeps you kind of coming back for more. But little by little, we're going to build this team up, and we'll eventually have the ability to actually rock the ball off of guys like this. But we have to be able to swing first. Yeah, that's an infield hit, I think. Yep. I don't think he has a lot of speed, but just barely enough to beat that one out. That's what we want to see. Interesting, he kind of got a little bit around on that one, pulled that one just a little bit, but hit the right spot of the bat, so ended up being a base hit. Now they're definitely in trouble. Unless we hit into a double play, of course, in which case they're not in trouble. Alright, we'll see if Lucy has what it takes. Nope. Alright, there's one. And see, they don't have anyone to pinch hit for him, do they? Boy, I tell you, that ball going from third to first takes an eternity. Your heart's up in your throat by the time it gets there. It's too bad that this isn't Bad News Baseball. If this was Bad News Baseball, I would have thrown him out at first. Yeah, I reacted a little bit too late for that. Alright, we're gonna do it. I don't know if we get any extra credit in terms of our prestige or not for putting him in, but it doesn't matter because we won, and that's the important thing. So we've ended up here with the 4 runs on 16 hits. They had 3 on 13. Pitcher D1 gets the win again. No home runs in this game, which is very, very good for us. And Charlie Brown gets the save. Kind of unusual for him. 23,000 attendance, so we get $43,000. And see, we're doing a little bit better now in terms of that sort of thing. So we're gonna go over here. He's at 20,000, 25,000, 20,000. So we're gonna start powering this up. Yeah, thanks. That's exactly what we wanted to see. We get 1 bonus point. We can buy again for Pigpen if we want, or go buy for Shermie. I think we'll go ahead and buy again for Pigpen. Might as well. Alright. How do we want to do this? We probably want to bring both of these up to 10 and do 1, 2, 3, something like that. So it was 40,000. It was what, like 42,000 or something like that. I don't think that we have enough to power anybody else up. Yeah, we don't. So that's kind of the way that that one's going to end. Now, yeah, I think that's just about all that we're going to do. There is one thing I kind of wanted to look at in terms of this. So Pigpen's got 10 and 10. And we go back over here to them and we look at, it was Paul, right? So he's got batting of 12. That's the thing that happens with him, right? His hitting rating is bad, but he's got a really good batting rating, and that's where they're hitting those home runs, which is kind of a crazy type of rating to have. So to put things in perspective, if you look at like Babe with American Dreams, you're looking at something like this, which is a problem. Pete, you have something like that. Anyway, so that gives you kind of an idea. We can maybe go through a little bit later on and look deeper at some of these teams. The lovely ladies' names, by the way, are a little bit odd, but anyway, they are kind of what they are. We'll build up a team with better girls than they have, though, in the end. So anyway, it's all good. We're going to go ahead and end play here, and I will show you the thing that everybody has been waiting for, apparently, which is the controller that I'm using. So it's one of these. I've got one of these 8-bit DOE controllers you can see here. I do have it plugged in. It has Bluetooth capability, but I've never really bothered to actually set it up. I've been using it for a couple years now. It was a couple years ago I bought it. I also have one of these babies. So that's what I use for the Genesis games. And I haven't really used it yet, but I've also got one of these babies right here, which I'm not sure. It doesn't have a thing on the front. You can see sort of on the back it is 8-bit DOE. I don't know what brand it is exactly. Anyway, so those are the 3 controllers at least that I have at the moment, and maybe eventually we can get a couple more. There's an old style Famicom controller that I have, but it doesn't work very well. So eventually we'll replace all of this stuff and whatever, but first things first, we've got to like get stuff going. Sort of like with baseball stars, right? Eventually we're going to get to where we want to be, but we have to take kind of baby steps first. Anyway, thanks for showing up. Hope you do well and that you're not totally snowed in. And I'll let you know tomorrow what things are looking like here. Talk to you later.